What's good, everybody? Welcome to the Gurren Otaku Council podcast. I'm your host, Ace.
And I'm McMillian.
And today we'll be doing episode 2. Episode 2, everybody. And how you doing today, McMillian?
I'm tired of rewatching Demon Slayer, the movie, is how I'm doing. Let's talk about that.
Okay, so let's look at our docket here for today. So, of our list of items on our docket today, we have Demon Slayer, Season 2, Episode 2, Mushoku Tensei, and we're going to be doubling up on 2 of these. We're going to be doing Mushoku Tensei, Episode 13 and 14, as well as 86, Episode 13 and 14. Mm-hmm. As you all know, we're kind of a little bit behind on these episodes, so we're going to double up today, and so we can catch up and get back, get to them weekly on the new stuff. Yep, but anyways, we're going to start off with Demon Slayer, just to, once again, just get this one right on out the way. So Demon Slayer.
Before we start, as always, y'all, spoiler warning. So spoilers are ahead. So please make sure you go ahead and watch these animes before we talk about them. Or if you still want to listen to us, go ahead. Just know that we are basically giving up the major plot lines. So I'm going to pass it back to Ace.
All right. So as I was saying, Demon Slayer episode 2. Yeah, season 2, episode 2. It was the movie, guys. it was the movie.
What sucked about this one specifically is that it's the beginning of the movie, and I really thought they were going to delve more into the breathing technique explanation or something. Because that's the only thing I was like, all right, out of the things that people probably did not get from this movie, the breath technique or like the branching of the breath techniques probably could have been elaborated on more, and you guys didn't get that. I'm not gonna, as a person, as the manga reader here, I don't think it's in my place to basically go ahead and take that over, but because it comes up again later, and I think we should just probably wait for that. But honestly, I feel like everyone's getting robbed again because this is basically just the movie over again. And then I know they said they added new scenes, but maybe that's during the more heavy, intensive fighting stuff. Which you got like two. Yeah. Which basically means you got like 2 more episodes.
I would imagine that like you just mentioned, the new scenes will probably come during the more heavier fighting scenes, especially the last, the climactic battle. Mm-hmm. If you have not seen Mugen Train yet, I guess this would be good for you, these episodically, if you like that type of thing. But I mean, if you already seen Mugen Train, unless I guess you're just a big Demon Slayer fan, I guess there will be no other reason you will really be watching these episodes right now.
This is legit. I mean, this episode was legitimately just the movie. The first
scene by scene, it was legit the movie.
And like, to be quite honest, I don't know why they, like, at this point I'm not really getting much. Like, I got 1 episode of stuff I haven't seen, but like I said, it's anime only, and I really feel like it didn't add much to Rengoku's character. So, and then this one, if you've seen the movie, and like Ace said, I don't know how you could not have seen the movie by now, because it's free on Funimation, it's free on Crunchyroll,
and it's on Blu-ray now.
So I don't know what they're doing, what they plan to get out of this that they could not have gotten out of the movie. Because like we had mentioned in our last podcast episode, the Mugen Train arc is very short. It is only like a handful of chapters, and not enough to warrant its own season. I mean, like this arc and the anime right now is only 7 episodes.
So I mean, well, the only other thing I could think of is probably maybe they did this because they realized the entertainment arc wasn't going to be that many episodes, so they decided they needed some more episodes for season 2.
The thing is, the thing is about that though, the entertainment arc isn't short at all, in my opinion. It's that's why, like, I think they've announced that they said the two first episodes of the entertainment district arc are going to be like an hour long. So
correct,
to make up for it. Yeah. So it's just odd to me why they wanted to give this more time. I don't know if it was like animation's sake, but in my opinion,
animation's sake for what? Because it seems like I doubt they reanimated this entire TV series arc for the just to air it on TV. So I'm pretty sure they just ripped a lot of the stuff from the movie. But I don't know. I guess wouldn't it just not make sense to just focus on just getting the entertainment district arc ready and just giving us a full season of that?
I mean, I assume so. In my personal opinion, Entertainment District arc is one of my favorite arcs. So, I as a fan of who's looking forward to more things coming out.
Okay, well, question. Let me ask you this then: would you have preferred a filler arc instead of this Mugen Train arc right now?
I just no, probably not. I don't know. I don't know. I feel like this is a filler arc essentially, almost because you gave me a movie.
I mean, well, yes, and no. It's a filler arc because I mean, it is canon, but it's canon stuff we already seen.
And in my opinion, what is worse, this or filler? Because while I'm not getting a necessary story, I'm getting something that is widely known. Because this is like Demon Slayer, I think, was the highest grossing anime movie. I think.
Correct.
At the moment.
Honestly, I think it probably would have benefited them, just in my opinion, to maybe even do a filler arc. Because even if it is a filler arc and it's technically not canon, it's still content that people haven't seen before. But then on top of that, maybe that takes away from them actually getting ready for the entertainment district. So I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know what the decision was on this.
I don't know. I just think maybe because I can't possibly imagine that the TV ratings for this season are as high as they normally be. Like they can't be, right?
I doubt it. I really would doubt that they're that high, considering.
Like I'm pretty sure they're still up there, but I'm just saying for their normal people, they normally be at for season 1. I'm pretty sure they're not as high as it was because like this is just stuff we already seen before.
Yeah, I don't know how.
I would be surprised if they're still the same or even higher.
Yeah, I don't. Season 1. Yeah, I personally could not see this being as high because within each season of animes, there's a whole bunch that come out. I mean, we narrowed it down to 3, but technically, if we wouldn't, I don't know how we could balance this. We could technically like put 10 episodes, we could put 10 animes in these podcast episodes. It'd be hell, but we could do it. So, I mean, yeah, I don't got much else to say about these other than I'm kind of disappointed that we're just getting the movie over, and I kind of feel like we're getting cheated at this point.
Correct.
And I feel like I'd still be saying this, even if I would not have read Demon Slayer. Like I think my opinion would still be the same because it's just the same thing over.
No, I'm saying because I haven't read the manga yet. So I mean that's basically how I feel. I feel cheated, because like you're basically shortening season 2 and just filling in it with stuff we already had. Literally half of the season 2 is basically just stuff we already seen before, and it's just like, we waited almost over half a year for the next season of Demon Slayer just for you to do something that you said you were not going to do in the first place.
Exactly.
Which really upsets me.
Yeah, and maybe I don't know. I have friends that are huge Rengoku fans, and they seem to be enjoying the extra time with him. But I feel like,
but what extra time is not nothing. I just think new. You're enjoying the same time with him,
basically,
that you had in the movie.
Well, the thing is, it's more time, but it's the same experience. It's not like you're getting anything different, and that's more of like my concern is like, as a person who likes this series, as a fan of this series, I just feel like they could have done something different. Maybe pulled some inspiration because there's a one-shot chapter for Rengoku that shows a canon adventure that he's had, and I feel like you could have. Granted, you could probably only get 2 episodes out of that chapter, but I feel like if you were going to give me something, maybe a filler, they could have worked with the author to do an anime filler of a Rengoku storyline or something like that. But this just feels kind of lazy to me.
Yeah. Well, all right. Well, I guess that's enough of Demon Slayer, so we're just gonna
Sorry, that was kind of dreary, guys.
Move on to the next topic we have here on our docket list. We're gonna be moving on to 86 now, starting with episode 13. So Jay, I'll let you start off with this one.
Yeah, so episode 13 was titled "It's Too Late," and basically, not to do a whole long rerun of this episode, but basically we kind of got to see Shin's group get acclimated to not being everyday soldiers, and it seemed like they were enjoying their time for a while. But that all came crashing down because they were basically like they were. If you know anything from 86 season 1, the AI army basically uh, takes their they basically take the brain or like the synapse of the people they kill in battle, the actual humans they kill, and just reassemble it into a different AI soldier. And so since Shin's team had lost a lot of people beforehand, they have some friends that are still technically out on the battlefield, not resting, and they don't feel right while that's happening. Or they, and also I feel like since they know this other country is still doing the same thing, now they know that even more people are getting turned into AI soldiers. So I feel it seems like they felt like they had no choice but to return to the battlefield. And upon making this declaration, their dad, their new adoptive father, basically tries to convince them not to, but it becomes a moot point. And then Frederica makes basically an announcement. It's like, hey guys, I'm the one who did everything. It was me. I started the war. I'm the empress. It seems like in an attempt to, I don't know if it didn't, in a way, it felt like she was trying to like convince them not to go, but at the same time, she was like, also, I need y'all to go to stop the things that I've started. I don't know if I necessarily believe that, but we will get to that in a second. And but she begs them after making the declaration. She's the empress. She's the one that started this whole war, basically. She begs them to save someone that she apparently had lost to the AI soldiers as well. And I forget the name, but basically it seems to be someone very important to her that used to protect her when she was younger. And basically they told her that they would, and that's where we left off in episode 13.
Correct. So picking up, of one of the topics that you mentioned, just the gang getting used to their everyday lives and just chilling. A few of them, well, most of them actually have, found hobbies and stuff to do throughout the city and even make friends. What's her name? Why can't Aju? She's in a cooking class, so she's been, making friends in the cooking class and people, stuff like that, learning how to cook different type of things. Because I think they mentioned that most of the stuff that she know how to cook are just desserts. So she's learning how to cook actually more, real food and stuff now. I cannot remember the name of the red-haired girl to save my life, but the red-haired girl, she's basically just been doing a lot of shopping.
Yeah, she seemed to be enjoying stuff, but like, what was at the same time she was doing it, they were having like military parades or stuff like that, and you could see her hesitancy to want to engage in like everyday civilian things, like because the clothes she was looking at every day, she would like pass that shop all the time, and it took her until like I think until like right before they had decided to go back onto the battlefield for her to actually go in and try clothes, which really speaks to just how much of like, I don't know, it seemed like it showed somewhat of their guilt a little bit to have been enjoying
enjoying living life this downtime while everybody's there. But I mean, in my opinion, they earned it. They was the last. It's not like they intentionally, went and asked for this life. Mm-hmm. So I mean, it's just something that happened. And in my opinion, if they would have decided to just stay there and live out their life, they earned it. They've been fighting the Legion, ever since they basically could fight the Legion, and against their will at that. And so
I agree. If anybody deserves a break, it's these children. It is. Because if it was me, I'd be out the game. I'd be chilling. Like Raiden had a job.
Yeah. Raiden found a job.
He seemed like he was actually really enjoying time with his coworkers. Like Frederica even mentioned, I think sometime during the episode, she was like, around the time were going to announce that they're going back to fighting. Frederica was like, "Oh, weren't you supposed to have like dinner with your coworkers or something?" Like they really had time to develop their own lives outside of the battlefield, but they couldn't just bring themselves to stay outside of it.
Correct.
And in a way, that's kind of sad. And another way, it's like, I understand, like with everything that y'all went through, I definitely see why you would want to stick it through. Like you lost so many friends to this war. How else could you continue going on?
Correct.
Especially knowing that, it's still happening.
So, yeah. with that being said, we'll move on to our next little topic, Frederica. So two interesting things about Frederica. One, she has a special power that allows her to see into people's past of anybody. I think she said anybody eyes she's looking to, something like that.
Okay, yeah. So I was like,
Um,
first off, for anyone that does not know, I am a huge fan of Code Geass, and I felt like such a Code Geass moment right there. I was like, yes, we are. Especially with like the whole theme of like soldiers and like the less than race. If you have not checked out Code Geass, please do. But this is a
it's a
hidden,
classic.
yeah, it's hidden some of that level, and I'm really enjoying that. Because the thing with her power, it doesn't seem like it's like that it's like a overpowered thing. It's more of like I can see back into just the past, and that can help me, identify with people slash other, like just get more acclimated with them as people. So,
Or even just get information on them, because
yeah.
technically that could still be used as a way to find their weaknesses
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, no,
if they wanted to.
I definitely has a tactical, I think, usage, but since she's not necessarily a soldier herself, it'd be interesting to see how
Correct.
that all develops.
Yeah.
But I'll let you get back to it. Sorry, I just had to throw that out there.
But no, that's fine. That's what we're here for. So yeah, Frederica, she has powers, as we were just saying. She could see back into the future of the people that she looks at, and that's, as he was saying, it could just be used tactically, or she could just be using it as well as
Getting to know
just
people.
for personal reasons. But it's interesting to see that there's somebody in this world that actually has a unique power.
Yeah, some extra
I
sensory
think,
abilities. I wonder how.
yeah,
Yeah, because it's a big question on how that's going to play out later on. Because at
correct.
first I was like, and also it seems like, based on her declaration, which I do not believe this 10-year-old child started this war. Like, they kind of point that out in the thing. I don't know why she did that, if she wanted to see, if she just wanted to get a reaction out of the group, if she was actually like, maybe she felt bad because maybe something she did, or maybe the fact that she comes from the bloodline of the people who started the war, because that's more of what I think she meant. And maybe she holds a chip on her shoulder for that. But she is definitely much more, I think, because of her ability to see into the past, and she might be able to see very far back in her own bloodline. It could be the cause of why this 10-year-old girl is also very.
Well, let me ask you this: since you brought that up, that's a good point. So, do you one quick? Well, I got two questions. Mm-hmm. One, do you think that she's basically just like maybe like the daughter or something, or just a late descendant of the last empress of Gilead?
I mean,
instead of the actual empress.
I think that more so. I think she is the descendant of the last empress of Gilead. Because my thing is, it seems like the guy who took them in was the leader of the rebellion of Gilead. So they probably took out the old king and queen, her parents, and
hands down.
But they were like, "Oh, the sins of the child is not the sins of the mother or the father, so we're not going to kill this kid for something that their parents were perpetuating." So I feel like it's more of like I know I come from bad stock, and I feel bad about that. And then there are people that I have lost to this war, and I kind of feel like I should be taking some type of like. I should be punished in some way, shape, or form for, the actions that I have, that I've gone against, basically. And I don't know what full reason she had for telling them, other than for them to at least direct their anger at somewhere. Maybe she was trying to do some like reverse psychology of why they shouldn't go and fight. Like, the all enemy is here. If y'all really want to take her out, I'm right here. Like, don't do this. But I think at the end of the day, she knew, regardless of anything she tried, they were going to go out.
Yeah, which probably played into her hand, because she knew she wanted them to help her save the person that we mentioned earlier that was close to her in the future.
Mm-hmm.
Not in the future, that was close to her in the past.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Yeah. So, in the second question I had was, do you think since being Gilead, that they were the nation that created the Legion, do you think it's possible that maybe that Frederica was experimented on, and that's how she got her powers?
I didn't consider that, because they definitely do seem to have that type of, well, based on the first episode, the medical stuff seems very advanced anyway, and we also know, since they created the Legion, that their ability with computers is high. So I don't I don't know. It seems almost like a bloodline type thing, if you ask me. But it could be that they
Yeah,
experienced it on
it
her. I
could.
wouldn't doubt
That's a good point right
if
there.
this is the country that created the Legion. I don't put it past them to have experimented on children based on what the Legion does. I do not put it past this country to have the old GI to have experimented on kids.
Yeah, because it just like I said earlier, it's just interesting for the fact that there's a power user in this universe, which I didn't expect to see in this anime. And so just just trying to come up with different ways or reasons as to why she would have these powers. Like I said, it could be a bloodline type thing, or maybe who knows, maybe she was experimented on. Because we do know that she has some type of trouble past, which is partly in due that to that she might be related to the the old empress and stuff like that, and the fact that they got slaughtered. Um, but yeah, we just don't know.
Yeah, but this I don't know, but this is the new little sister, basically of the group, and I'm honestly very interested to see where her story goes from here, especially along with like how Shin and all of them treated, because it seems like Shin and her seem to be getting the closest out of everybody, and that's interesting considering Shin being such a closed off person, how he will handle being a big brother to a person he can't be closed off with, because one look at his eyes and she knows everything of his past.
Correct. And before we move on to episode 14, just the last thing I got to mention about episode 13 is Shin made a new friend this episode. His name is Eugene. And we're going to talk about Eugene in the next episode, which we're going to get to now, episode 14, Glad to Be Here. So, before we get to this Eugene topic, is there...
Oh, well, I'll like I
is
said,
there anything that you want to discuss about episode 14?
Yeah, I mean, like I said before, we're probably not doing a long synopsis, so but I'll basically give some background to the episode so you guys know what we're talking about. Most likely you've seen it, and if you haven't, hopefully you appreciate it. In this episode, Shin is kind of just back into basic training of jihad using their new weapon, using their like new technology and weapons. And he is basically, well, he's not a show off, but he's, if anything, he's Shin basically. He's been in these type of weaponry before, so he's doing extra maneuvers and stuff like that, and he's impressing the people he's showed up. So he graduates pretty early, and they send him back to the battlefield. But before they do that, him and his group, well, basically him and his group graduate early, and they're back off to the battlefield. Before we get to see them in actual fight, though, we hear basically that the war effort, that it seems like the Legion is getting much stronger than they normally are, as well as the person who is now in charge of the 86 unit in Jihad is this lieutenant lady, and she basically before they go off in the battle, she gives them Fido, which, if you remember, is an AI companion that they had in the last series.
He's back.
In the last season, and we thought he had perished along with them at the end of the first core, episode 12. Turns out he's back, just like they're back. So that was nice to see. But yeah, moving forward, before we get to the Eugene topic, though we could talk about hold on, let me look at my notes.
It's all right, I got you. So one topic I did want to discuss on was, as you just brought it up, that Fido's back. I think it was a nice touch that they did two things. One, they actually made a memorial for all their friends that had died on the battlefield in that area, which was nice. And two, they brought Fido back to life, something they did not have to do, but they found Fido's old body on the battlefield, and they found out that his core was still intact. And so they said, hey, why don't we do something nice with him? They took his core and put it in a new body, and Fido's back now. So I thought that was a really nice touch, because that was something that they did not have to do, but yet they went out their way and put in the extra effort to actually show gratitude towards the 86.
Yeah, no, it was really nice. I mean, the jihad is a swell country, if anything. They out here liberating people, giving them homes, restoring their AI dogs. They just a swell country. I mean, they like, if we gonna send you back into war, at least have a companion that you used to be fond of. So it was nice to see
Correct.
them get some like much needed revelry and good times or tidings before they had to go back into the trenches.
Correct. As well as Shin got his pistol back this episode, the
Oh
pistol
yeah,
that he used to end the lives of his 86 brethren. So that was also a nice touch. He got
yeah. It
a
was.
memento back that that he got taken away from him, but he's got it back now, and so it's basically like that the Reaper is back now. It was almost like a symbol that Shin the Reaper is back in action.
Yeah, it was. I don't know. That moment was so bittersweet because it was like it was basically like a times up type thing. Like
Yeah,
you had a
like
pause. You had a pause, my guy. You had a breath of regular society. Here's back. Here's putting you back in the fight, and it was weird to see because he almost was happy that he received it. Because I think it's also that pistol is also a memento of his older brother. But it's such a
yeah,
if anything 86 does really well, it's making like really light moments sprinkled with like heavy stuff because these are still children and they're happy. It's like to make a person happy to receive a pistol as a momentum from a brother. I don't know how much more dark you can get, but they did it. So
correct. Is there any other
more
topics
before we
you
get to
wanted
the heavy stuff?
we get to the Eugene.
Not really. No, I don't
right.
know what else you could say.
All right, so I'll start us off. So who was Eugene? You may be asking. Well, Eugene is a friend of Shin's that he met during his time at reading at the library. So that was Shin's pastime when he was basically trying to live a normal life. He was just going to the library reading books. He met this guy named Eugene who was an orphan now, but he has a little sister that he's taking care of. And he brings his little sister to the library basically every day.
Yeah, so basically that's how they met Shin. He told Shin, right? Actually, they enlisted around the same time, basically, into the Jihad military because he was like, I need a way to take care of my sister. Correct. So Shin, Eugene made fast friends with Shin. He's like the only person, I think, out of the military who wasn't intimidated by Shin's skills.
Correct.
Unfortunately, they packed my boy up this episode. And it was so, oh my god!
I was so damn hurt because they didn't let my boy get one episode in the military before they offed him. Not one. Okay, and then the fact that upsets me. But really, what's pissing me off is how they killed my guy. Okay, they go from my sister's with my auntie right now because she has nobody else to be with. So my auntie's taking care of her. I want her to go to a good school. So I'm here sending my money back to them. When I get a break, I'm going to go take her shopping. Little girls like to do that, right, Shin? Little girls like to go shopping and stuff like that. Shin tells him like, you're a good guy, Eugene. You shouldn't be here. Yeah. Not even 5 motherfucking seconds later, they cut to this man severed arm in the field. And once I saw that, I was like, God damn. They done got my boy. They done got my boy.
I think I blocked that out. Because I knew when Frederick, so the scene, so drastic. The scene, like, they don't even show the battle. It's the aftermath, the battle.
That's what they don't even show the battle. They don't even show the battle.
Frederica calls up Shin, and that is the moment I knew. I was like, Eugene is dead. Eugene is gone. They packed him up. And Shin walks up, and if you've seen the first core, you know what happens when when the Legion kills you. You got to get packed up by somebody's before you fully like expire, or they get you. And Shin walks calmly over, and Eugene over here talking about the picture for his sister. I don't even think he know what the fuck happened to her. And Shin is just calm as ever, loads it. Bang, sends them off. And when I tell you I had an issue with all this, I
was hurt.
I really thought he was. I don't think he was. I'm gonna be real with you. I didn't think he was gonna make it to the end of the season. I knew he was going to die.
But see, I didn't think he was gonna make it to the end of the season either. But I did not think they was gonna get my boy the exact same episode like this though. They didn't let my boy make it one episode in the military. Not
Not one.
one.
Not
And then
one.
on top of that, I thought that because the Gia actually they're autonomous robots, not autonomous, they're robots that they use to fight the Legion. They're actually two seaters instead of one seater.
And
And so
and it seems like they have heavier plating and stuff like that as well.
correct. And so I thought from that since they got two seaters, I thought he was going to potentially be paired up with Shin. But then they pulled the okie doke on this. No, we got these new robots that we've been working on for the 86. Just like the what do you call it? They're made off Republican designs. Boom, these are for the 86. I'm like, okay, well, they basically got upgrades to the original ones that they had.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, okay, it's all fine, Danny, that's cool. But like you said, they didn't even show the battle. They just eating lunch. The alarm goes off. Eugene says, "See you on the battlefield," and they literally cut to this man's severed arm, all bloodied, holding the pendant in the field. And I'm just like, you know what? I'm tired. I'm tired of 86. They can't keep getting away with this. They can't.
What's so funny is I know anime has death. Technically, he displayed like half of the death flags that normally happen, but he did talk about his dream. So in my head, I probably should have known this was coming, because that's how you know when somebody's about to die in anime. The moment they start talking about their dreams
and aspirations,
it's over with. And I for some reason they did it so subtly in this one that I did not think it was gonna happen that fast.
It was just smooth. It was like I was
and
like when like I said, the next scene comes up and I'm just like, excuse me, like what? Not Eugene. And then they keep rolling the tape. Eugene's just laying in the field. I'm like, oh, they done got my boy. They done got my boy.
Yeah, if we recorded our reactions, this is probably where I'd clip that in. But 86, hands off to them, because my heartstrings, they sure got tugged on this episode. That's ooh.
They got me. They could have been. You know what? Last thing I'm gonna say, they could have let my boy make it past one episode. That's it. They could have made him make it past one episode. But,
at least you would think that they would let him make it past one episode. But unfortunately, that is not the case. But,
that is not the case.
Good old 86, because these episodes are good, but Ed had to hurt me that bad. Oh man, but yeah, that was basically all I had for Ace. There was really good episodes this past week. I know we didn't rate Demon Slayer. I really don't know what to give it, because honestly it was just like the movie episode, and I kind of don't want to take that away from the scoring. But if I had to do 86 ratings, out of 10, I honestly think both episode 13 and 14 were really strong. I have to give them around like a 7 to an 8.
Correct. I would give 13 a 7, and I got to give 14 an 8. This episode 14, like as you just mentioned, it really tugs on the heartstrings on this episode. I don't know how they did it, but they made me care for Eugene so fast and then just off them so fast. I don't know how they did it, but they did it. I didn't think I was gonna care for Eugene. It came out of nowhere, and here we are. So yeah. Well, with that being said, we're gonna move on to our last item we have on our docket list today, which is Mushoku Tensei. I'm sorry, I think I pronounced that wrong last time. Mushoku Tensei, episode 13 to episode 14. And just like last time, Jay, I'm gonna let you start off Mushoku.
Okay, so for Mushoku, so episode, I got to collect myself at the last thing we talked about. But episode 13 was Misconnections. It was basically telling the side of episode 12 from Roxy's perspective. We get to meet Paul's old adventuring mates, which seems to this dwarven man and this elfish lady who needs to be arrested, but we're going to get more on that later. And basically they were in the town, seeming to be looking for Rudy, but since they kept missing him by like seconds, they're like they were basically like, well, that's about it. We're gonna go look for the other gray rats, Paul's other children and his wife. And so that was something interesting we'll probably talk about later. And then we basically bring it back to Rudy after the events of episode 1, where he is getting shipped off to the continent they were trying to get to by the smugglers. They had to go separate from Rudred because if they took all 3 of them, it would have been much more expensive. So Rudred got smuggled, and Eris and Rudy went off on themselves, and then they ended up saving Rudred. Well, Rudy ended up saving Rudred, getting Rudred from the smugglers, and then they proceeded to murder all the smugglers and save these beast children that were there, which led to a whole bunch of antics later on in the next episode. But to focus on episode 13, since it was mostly Roxy stuff, I'll focus on what I said earlier. The elfish lady, she got problems. She got issues.
Leave that lady alone.
No, I'm not. I'm really not. For her to have the audacity to call Paul a bad guy is blasphemous, because she was out there giving it up to
but that doesn't make her a bad lady though. But that does not make her
you're not
a
wrong,
bad lady though.
But she needs to calm down, okay? The horny police need to visit wherever she's at and lock her up.
That lady says she is young and free to live her life, okay?
And then she not even gonna have the courtesy to tell people when she in there.
And you're not gonna stop her. And
when she in the room getting it all, because Roxy got traumatized, boy.
You know what? I'm glad you brought that. So far, I think Mushoku Tensei is a very... How do I describe this? In terms of rating, this is Mushoku Tensei got to be like borderline almost rated R.
It's so close. It be getting right up to the goddamn line.
like if this was the rated R line, and Mushoku Tensei is basically like right. I don't know if you can see there we go. This is the rated R line. This is Mushoku Tensei. They're right there. They're right there. But no, listen, that lady says she out here living her life. Can't nobody tell her nothing. That's the end of that. Though Roxy did get traumatized. Mushoku Tensei did a nice job of showing the basically the second perspective of what happened in the town from episode 12 to episode 13 from Roxy's perspective. They did a really good job of that. Roxy's left wondering if she's gonna run into Rudy here in this city, because she hasn't seen him in a while. She always would miss him. That's her student. She did run into Eris and Rougier, but because he was a super, she got scared and ran away. And that was that moment we saw her running in through the alley where Rudy was walking through the alley right before he met the Demon Empress. But another interesting fact that I thought I'd touch up on this is the fact that Paul's entire family seems to be missing as of the moment, which is interesting because I only thought that basically, Rudy and Eris was the only one that ended up missing after that blast, but we really don't know what happened after that blast. We just know that Rudy and Eris ended up in the Demon Nation. So it's interesting to find out that Paul's family is his entire family. Is actually
which I think was mentioned at the end of the first core, that he was looking for them. I guess over time I'd forgotten that the other people, that his other parts of his family, Rudy's 2 sisters and his mom, also got spirited away by the blast. So I'm wondering. It just makes me wonder what that blast was and why it seemed to have targeted his family so much.
Yeah, there's probably a deeper meaning behind that, because if it turns out that this was really targeted for Paul, which I'm pretty sure, I would hope they wouldn't go through that whole spell just to target Paul's family, because that seemed like it was almost like a nationwide spell almost. Mm-hmm. I would hope they wouldn't go through the trouble to make up that much of a massive spell just to target Paul's family. But who knows? Maybe Paul did. Paul be Paulin', so ain't no telling. What's going on?
I mean, like they said before, the Grey family seems to be very important. Like they're very high in the ruling class.
But Paul, though,
yeah, no, I mean it's interesting. We'll have to see how the series keeps developing to see what exactly that was. But it is interesting to note that it seemed to be directly Paul's descendants and his wife. So we'll have to see what comes of that. But
correct.
To move the topic over from Roxy's group, what is it? Oh well, actually, do you think they'll actually save? Do you think they'll find the other ones, considering that they passed Rudy like so
Well, did not find
so
Rudy
much?
anytime soon because they hopped on a boat
Yeah,
and Roxy and her party they headed to the next town.
yeah.
So they're not gonna see him anytime soon, which is kind of upset because I thought we was gonna get a Roxy and Rudy
Reunion.
reunion, but we did not. So I guess they're saving that for a later date, which is fine.
Yeah, but I'm wondering if they're actually going to be able to find the other two, considering how close they were to Rudy, and they was just like, we don't know where he's at.
but what are the likely chances that his family got teleported to the demon realm as well,
Is
the
it? I
demon
mean,
nation as well?
I'm assuming that might have happened because that's where they were. But I at the end of the first core, we did see a lot more than just the demon nation. It was like we also saw the dragon nation. I think was one of the ones because there was a dude who was in the presence of dragons. If I remembered at the end of the first core as well, so it's possible that they could be scattered all over. But it seems like Roxy and the two people that she's traveling with, the elf lady, which is her name is Elenice Dragon Road, and the dwarvish man. Give me one second, see if I can find his name.
Do, 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 do.
Give me one second, child. If I don't find it, it's a dwarvish dude.
Correct.
I think they definitely have their work cut out for them, and I'm not sure if they'll actually be able to find.
Well, anyway, I'll just keep talking. So
his name's Talhand. Excuse me, Talhand. Talhand. Roxy's party seem like they definitely have their work cut out for them.
They do. They probably went for the demon nation because Roxy's a demon, so she's familiar with that area. So maybe that's why they decided to go check that area first. Pretty sure there's more people checking in other places. I'm pretty sure that Roxy's party isn't the only party looking for Paul's family right now.
Yeah, based on that, how first court ended, he left a note, so there's definitely more people. But
correct.
I think with that we can move on to episode 14.
Well, before we move on episode 14, we got to touch up on the end of episode 13. So the last topic that we wanted to talk about, at least that I want to talk about, was that after they get across the ocean and make it to the next settlement of land, Rudy goes retrieve Rougier from the smugglers. The smugglers so happen to be actually smuggling beast children, that we find out. Mm-hmm. And Rudy has a decision to make. Does he save all the beast children by killing the smugglers or not? Push come to shove, Rudy could not come up with the decision, and Rougier just basically, he says, "Don't worry about Rudy. I got this. I'll take care of myself." And Rougier goes and slaughters all the smugglers. And after
while that happens, Rudy basically goes and finds this dog that was being smuggled as well, and he saves it.
Correct.
Since Rougier was leading the children outside, Rudy was left with that dog, and he was basically doing what most people do with dogs when they find them, and was giving them some attention, petting them, and all this other stuff. And then some more beast people came and basically captured Rudy.
Correct, because apparently the dog that Rudy saved is the sacred beast of their village. So they captured Rudy, and that's where the episode ends. And we moves on to episode 14. Episode 14, which is No Such Thing as Free Lunch. So as we was just saying, at the end of episode 13, Rudy got captured by some more people from the Beast Village because he was trying to take advantage of their sacred beast, which is, I don't know. I guess it's a thing there in their world. But so they took Rudy back to their village, and they got this man trapped, locked up. He's locked up. They won't let him out.
Over a dog. Over petting a dog. That just goes to show you children, don't go touch strange animals. Yeah, but he's locked up there. Later on, they add a different dude to his cell because he was gambling basically, and he had a lot of debt with them. And so they locked him up, and eventually things in the Beast People village go south when their village is set on fire, and some more smugglers come to take more children to sell off. That is when Rudy and his newfound rogue friend basically make their escape, grab their gear, and try to leave out of there. And then Rudy is, not to give a full thing, they end up eventually deciding to help and Rudy confronts the guy he had originally saved and made a partnership with, and they end up fighting. And out of that battle, Rudy technically ends up winning, although it was a hard fought type of thing. And that kind of leads to was it the first topic I think I had, which is like I think Rudy's slowly becoming a hero because we see him be selfish a lot, and this was like the first act where he was like, I have legitimately nothing to gain from this, but I'm gonna help out these kids.
Yeah, that was because, as you said, he had every right to just leave them be because they locked him up. They wouldn't even listen to him as they locked him up. The only thing they did was they just kept bringing this lady back to throw buckets of water on him, which I thought was hilarious. Every time she coming across that bridge, she's just bringing her bucket of water to splash on his ass. She was not playing with Rudy. But I guess why did they? One of the questions I had is why did they strip Rudy down, but they didn't strip the other guy down that was locked up with him?
I think it's because maybe he was a. The only thing I can think is that because Rudy is a mage, and maybe they were like, "Oh, he might have magical items on him or something of that nature." But the other dude, I don't know. The other dude, I guess, was just like a simple like gambler type rogue dude. So they were like, "Oh, if we just take away his weapons or anything he has, he'll be fine."
He'll be fine, yeah, and just toss him in there. So yeah, that was the only interesting thing that I thought about him being locked up for that part. Well, really that and the fact that they wouldn't listen to him at all. But I mean, considering from their side,
he was a cosmic sacred beast. So
correct. So I guess I can kind of see why they basically said, forget this guy. We ain't got nothing to say to him.
They ain't even get that boy a trial. They're just doing it.
Basically, I don't think they was gonna give him a trial. I think they were just gonna kill him once the village elder got back. I think they were just gonna kill him.
Well, yeah, but luckily, Rudred and Eris came with the village elder, so
correct. So yeah,
they have to do that.
He gets broken out of the village the prison due to the fire that was started by the smugglers. The smugglers are sitting here once again. Instead of, I guess, trying to wait for the children to come out of the city, I guess they decide that they're just going to straight up attack the Beast Village today.
And the dude who was leading the smugglers turned out to be a sword saint of I think it was Earth style?
North style.
The North style of fighting. And
which I'm not mistaken I think it's the same style that his father knows. Correct me if I can't remember.
It seemed like Paul knew a lot of different styles, but I think that's the one he was most versed in was North. I think, if I'm correct. And yeah, no, Rudy almost died.
Yeah. And so that brings us to our next topic, which is like Jay said earlier, Rudy's being a hero. Rudy had really no reason to help these people at all, but yet he did. He's, shows off his best water spell that he has in his arsenal right now, which is actually a nice spell to always watch. He pops that off, douses all the fire out.
Yeah, and a less destructive thing to douse the fire out. And then he starts basically confronting the main dude, and it's a very tenuous fight because while Rudy is great at magic, he still has something I've noticed, and this could technically bridges into the other topic. Rudy seems to have an aversion to killing. It seems like he has a huge problem with that. I'm not sure.
Well, we know he has a huge problem with that because that just goes back to the first season, and when he actually sees death for the first time, he's in shock.
When Ghislaine kills those kidnappers.
Yeah.
But my only thing is, it's like this guy fully was like ready to murder him, and he couldn't even do it in self-defense. So I'm wondering, will he ever truly get over his aversion to death? It seems like
I think he's slowly getting over it because in the span of 2 episodes, he realized that he probably is going to have to start actually killing people because the scene with him and the smugglers, he couldn't make a decision to kill the smugglers, and then as you just mentioned, this episode now he's actually fighting for life and death. And but yet he still can't bring himself to want to kill the guy. Yeah,
I really thought the last move, that explosion spell that he used, I almost thought that took both of them out. To be quite honest, well, not both of them, but like I thought, if anything, it was gonna kill the dude because of how close he was to Rudy, and then severely harm Rudy, if anything.
Correct.
it seemed
Somehow
to have
Rudy
just
came out unscathed in
stayed,
that.
yeah, and the other dude was knocked out. So he survived, but the way things seem to be going, eventually Rudy gonna have to take somebody out, and I hope you're
No,
ready for it.
yeah, and this I mentioned this before, but Rudy needs to become a battle mage. Especially now that he has this demon eye, it would be beneficial to him to actually use that fighting sword style that his dad was trying to teach him earlier. I think that especially
For the close encounters, yeah,
yeah, for the
especially.
close encounters, that was just even from seeing that earlier on. I thought that Rudy was basically become a battle mage because he was using magic and fighting at the same, and along with his sword style as well when he was fighting Paul.
Mm-hmm.
So and he was doing it, smooth at that, effortlessly. And so I just from that scene alone, I thought that maybe one day Rudy will actually become a battle mage instead of just a regular mage. And now that he has his demon eye, it seems that's even more likely to happen now, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Unless he becomes something like more of the type of guy, the guy from I got a perfect analogy, but I cannot remember the name. Log Horizon. There we go.
Oh, Shiro, like a support. I mean,
Like Shield from Log Horizon. Unless he becomes more of that type of support mage, being able to see the battlefield ahead of time of everybody else, then okay, I can understand.
yeah, I mean,
Um,
I mean, this show is very much short fantasy elements, so it's very obvious that parties are important because I mean, look, his dad was in one where they had multiple swords, where they had people that did physical fighting and then people that covered magic. So it's nice to see the balance that there's a balance in the world where people who know magic aren't just extremely like they'll automatically win because they can mess with the elements, but a skilled swordsman could give them a run for their money. So it's nice to see that you need that party dynamic going. And luckily, by the end of this episode, Rudy was returned to his party. Majority of it was the focus of the Beastman people and him saving the village, but we did get one last scene that I do want to talk about.
Go ahead.
So at the end of this episode, we get a glimpse of what is happening back in the
Human Nation.
the human nation, where Rudy's great uncle, Eris's grandfather, is ruling, and it seems to be that the Paul's brother, I think, or the current ruling Grey Rat, captured Eris's grandfather and has not assassinated, but put him on trial, found him to be guilty because he felt as if I'm assuming he felt as if his response to the whole this giant magic disruption, I think is what they called it.
Well, that wasn't Paul's brother. Now that was
no, his great uncle. I said his great uncle.
But no, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the guy that had him on trial. This was some new character we haven't seen before.
No, but well, the reason I said it might be Paul's brother is because we learned last season that.
Paul's 100%. Yeah, I agree with you on that.
Was trying to vie for the throne and stuff like that. That's why like the Grey Rat family's kind of bisected into stuff.
Correct, because he even tried to bring Rudy into it.
Yeah, so whoever this is, I'm assuming is a ruling Grey Rat. If it's not Paul's brother, maybe it's Paul's father or something. But they basically killed Eris's dad due to what they believe his lack of response to the magic distortion. I don't think that was the case. I really think they were just trying to get an excuse to take him out so they could probably like claim the nation he was leading. And I'm interested to see what this will have effect on in the story later, because now that Eris's granddad is dead, what will the nation be like when he gets back, and what will have happened to Eris's father and mother? Because we don't know what the implications are after this.
Correct. Yeah. I definitely was not expecting this scene at the end of this episode.
Not at all. They didn't.
It came out of nowhere, honestly. But
yeah, because the only thing,
sometimes you need those plot twists.
Yeah, the only thing that happened before then was Eris was like, I can't wait to tell grandfather that I went to live with beast people. I did not expect that to be a death flag.
You know what? Now that I think about it, they did the same BS that 86 did. They just slightly slid it on in there. They slid it on in. Like, as you said, Eris saying, I can't wait to get back and tell my granddad about this. Now, 5 seconds later, we see this man on trial and being executed. I'm just, and it's wild. It's wild.
But this has a lot of I don't know. It's just, this is interesting because I feel like whenever they get back now,
Correct.
depending on the
Things
situation,
will probably more than likely be different. Who knows? Maybe even Rudy will not be accepted back once he gets back. Ain't no telling. But because as you said, there's no telling what implications this will have now that Eris's grandfather has been killed.
Yeah, especially since I mean, I even think that they might have to get into the Grey Rat struggle now because they killed Eris's grandfather.
They killed his grandfather.
It's kind of like they forced their hand at this point. So it's really interesting. It's going to be really interesting to see what life will be like when they make it back to the mainland.
Correct. So yeah, and I guess the last thing I wanted to touch on before this episode was going back to the fight between Rudy and the North Star. Is Rudy's demon eye. Though that Rudy has the demon eye now and then, he can see, a few seconds or whatnot. It seems like it's just the same situation with basically, I'm gonna make this comparison with Rock Lee and Sasuke with his Sharingan. Though Rudy has the demon eye and can see ahead of his future, his body is not yet equipped enough to actually respond to certain things. So Rudy still has a long way to go before he can truly master demon eye, because like I was just saying, he actually has to train his body to be able to respond to the things that he's actually seeing now. So we might get a training arc here sooner or later, maybe by the end of the season or something, or mid-season or something. But at some point or another, it might be safe to say that Rudy might actually start training, or he's probably already been training with Rougier. We don't know. We know Aer's been training with Rougier.
He'll definitely have to, I feel like, get back into more physical types of training to prepare him for the use of DNI, as well as you mentioned getting his sword skills back up.
Correct. So yeah, that was the last.
Yeah, so with all that said,
we had on the docket.
Yeah, but with all that said, for the rating for Mushoku and these two past two episodes, I'd probably give it both of these episodes felt like a high 7 to me. Like, correct. They were both very entertaining while also fleshing out the world more, because we actually got to see what the Beast Nation, well, not the Beast Nation, but the Beast people, how they live their lives day to day, and some of like their customs, I guess, like what they consider to be strong. Also, we got to see more developments of Rudy as a mage, which is always nice to see. And
I would agree.
His character.
I would agree. Yeah, I think I agree with you. I'll give them both just a 7. The plot twist definitely at the end of episode 14 definitely is going to have some major ramifications on their world, and how they know how whatever's going to happen to Rudy when they finally do make it back to the human nation and everything. So just can't wait to see how that unfolds. Mm-hmm. So yeah, you want to sign us off, Jay?
Yeah. Thank you guys for coming and listening. Please, to stay up to date with the council, be sure to follow us on our Spotify, Google Podcasts, as well as subscribe to us on YouTube. For updates about like news such as when we're releasing episodes or like when we're doing other stuff, be sure to follow our Instagram at Gurren Otaku Council and our Twitter at the Gurren Otakus. Thanks guys for coming to the meeting. See you next time.
Peace.